Hello, everyone, and welcome to the best and worst of Walt Disney World. I'm your host, Pete Werner, joined at the table this week by my good friends, Mr. Steve Porter.
Hello.
And Mr. Sean Faulk.
Hello.
And this week, we are going to talk about our top picks from this year's Epcot Food and Wine Festival, specifically our top 4 picks from the festival this year. And I will go ahead and go first. My number 4 was actually not... I didn't actually try it because I don't eat seafood, but it just so happened that I had a friend in from Australia, and we stopped at the Australia kiosk, and he tried the grilled bushberry shrimp and the Leamington, the cake, the dessert cake, and he said both were outstanding and very authentic. He really liked it. He said, it was really, really good. So I went ahead and included that in my top 4 because I thought I should have a seafood dish in here.
Well, and you have someone that knew what they're talking
about. And really,
about.
he literally had gotten off the plane from Sydney the day before. So, and he's painfully Australian. So he would know better than me what was authentic, and he thought that was outstanding. So what about you, Steve? What's number 4 on your list?
So my number 4 has actually been around for, I think, 2 or 3 food and wine festivals. It's the crispy pork belly at the Brazil Kiosk or Global Marketplace. It's $5.75. I'd actually had the pork belly now at Flying Fish, which is obviously much better. But for that price, $5.75, you get a pretty good chunk of crispy pork belly, and it's so delicious. So that's one of my go-tos for sure.
Sean, what about you?
All right. My number 4 is Thailand, the seared shrimp and scallop cake with a cold noodle salad. It cost $5 or whatever, so it's actually a pretty good portion size for the money. It wasn't overtly spicy because I'm not big on that either, but actually the cold noodles were great because it was so hot the day that we were all there eating it, so it was actually more refreshing, whereas a lot of other things are hot soups and hot meals, so it's definitely good for that.
All right. Number 3 for me is a big surprise because I'm not a fan of Irish food, but over at Ireland, the roasted Irish sausage was out of this world. They also had a beer cheese soup that rivaled, if not exceeded, Canada's cheddar cheese soup.
High praise.
Really high praise, because I love the cheddar cheese soup in Canada. But this was excellent. And I didn't note the prices like these two did, but none of it was outrageous. But then again, I'm not even paying attention, just like, oh, I want that. But this sausage was really good. Nice portion. Caramelized onions with it that were really good. Just delish. What about you, Sean? Number 3.
My number 3 is, a good go-to for me anyway, is the Filet Mignon in Canada. I just really like the mushrooms. I really like the actual steak. It's already probably my favorite restaurant to eat at anyway. Whenever you go in and sit down, it's one of the few times where leave the restaurant and I'm like, I would have paid more money for that than it actually cost because it was that good to me. So to have a little taste of it outside in a booth and I don't have to pay like $55 for the whole thing, like I'm excited about that. So
well, great steak there, a little overpriced, but so I didn't try the booth this year. So you thought it was good?
Oh yeah, it's good. For sure.
Cool. Steve?
So, yeah, great minds think alike. My number 3 was the wild mushroom beef fillet. I think, for $8, it was delicious. And I think this year compared to last and years before, that my cut of fillet was actually maybe medium rather than like the beyond well cooked well done that they've done in years past where they just suck all the flavor out of it. So it was, it's delicious. And I love that truffle butter sauce on top. It's so good. So
2 votes for that. Cool. Number 2 for me, actually, it was really tough for me between number 2 and number 1. But number 1 made it because I was very surprised by it. But number 2, over in Japan, the teriyaki pork was incredible. Absolutely incredible. I'm a big teriyaki fan. I eat it all the time. I make it all the time. But this was This was first-rate teriyaki. Delicious.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about it. I've actually bumped into a listener the second day of the festival who just said, "Yeah, you got to get it," and I haven't been back since. So I gotta do that the next time I'm there.
Well, what about you, number 2?
Number 2, I had the marinated chicken with the peanut sauce stir fry from Thailand for $4.75. Really big portion size. The marinated, whatever it's marinated in, makes the flavor go throughout that whole dish. So, yeah, that's another. I love when you get a big portion size for $4.75 too. Rarely does that happen on Disney property.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was my number 2.
All right. What about you, Sean?
All right. My number 2 was the Farm Fresh booth. It had the crispy chicken and cornbread with red-eyed gravy on top. It was $4.75, and like Steve was saying, this one for me is a huge portion size. It's always nice to get to have that. It's almost a little meal in itself. The cornbread paired really well with the chicken. It was kind of like a sweeter cornbread, but it worked really well all together. And I was shocked at how big of a portion size that they would give you at this booth. So it was great.
All right. That brings us to our number 1 picks. And like I said, my number 1 made it because of it came as a surprise to me. But my number 1 is from Hawaii, the Kahlua pork slider and Spam hash. Yes, Spam hash. Does not sound appetizing at all. But I figured, let me try it, because I figured I've had the Kahlua pork slider before.
Yeah.
Very, very good. But I got to tell you, the Spam hash was out of this world. Absolutely phenomenal. And I was surprised because, I've had Spam years and years ago, but it's not,
not the top of your list.
Spam. It's not something I'm really going to go out of my way for. But, Spam is big on the Hawaiian Islands. That was a thing from World War II. So there's a lot of dishes you can get in Hawaii that incorporate Spam. So I thought it was really authentic that they're doing this. And, you may be put off by Spam hash. Give it a shot. It was much, much, much better than the name would imply. So my number 1 definitely goes to the Kahlua pork slider and Spam hash in Hawaii. What about you, Steve?
My number 1, I love mac and cheese, and it's the loaded mac and cheese from Active Eats. It has, it's bacon, cheddar cheese, peppers, green onions, $4.75, and, I love good mac and cheese, and this is excellent mac and cheese, so made the top of my list.
All right.
There you go. My number 1's actually pretty similar to Steve's. It is in the craft beers area, which is in the Oasis before you get into the countries, really. It's a handwich, so it is the macaroni and cheese with the onions, the green peppers, but it also has like hamburger meat inside of it, and it's really easy to eat and carry. You can have a drink in one hand and a handwich in the other hand, so it's really
hence the name handwich.
Handwich, yeah. Yeah, so it's really good. That's definitely my number 1.
So there we go. Those are our top picks for this year's 2017 Epcot Food and Wine Festival. We hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back with you again next week with another edition of the best and worst of Walt Disney World. Thanks for being with us, everyone.